All right, everyone. We are live. Yeah, everything's looking good. Welcome back to the Unconventional Mindset. My name's O'Doom, if I can say that right. It is Monday, January 15th. Super exciting. I'm super pumped. I feel like things are kind of starting to come together here as we're on this journey and path or what have you towards building a business or a company that's going to generate $1 million in revenue every single year. Really looking forward to it. As I've said, last year we did. Last year we did $1 million. Last year we did 100,000. So this year we're going for 250,000. So we're on our way, and we are going to. Well, we have released Piixel Pieces. I mean, releases in quotation marks because we're not really telling anybody about it yet. And Piixel Pieces is our Webflow component and template library. And that's what we've been working on, figuring out how we're going to grow this thing and how we're going to just get customers and get that as part of our new revenue stream. So it's really interesting. I'm not sure exactly where I should start today, because what did I say in the thing? I want to create a unified design style or look and feel for our component library. And maybe what I'll do, I'll just open up a few things here, and then we kind of talk about my thoughts here in terms of pricing, because we were talking a little bit about pricing on Friday, and I think I was thinking about it for the past week. But I think after this, after this weekend, doing a lot of thinking and listening to other people talk about it, I kind of decided on a pricing strategy. So yeah. So. Ahmad, hello, welcome to the stream. Why not Reloom? Well, number one, I have no problem with Reloom. I really like the stuff that they're doing, but I'm creating my own Webflow component library for, as part of my business, and that's how I'm going to try to make money. So I guess you could think of it being as a competition or a competitor of Reloom, I guess you can say. So that's what, that's what I'm trying to build. So, you could talk about why I don't like to use that or other people's components, simply because I'm the type of designer and developer that I like to just do my own thing and use my own thing, because I really like to know the bones of what it is that I'm building. And when I find that I'm using other people's code base, I know Webflow technically doesn't have a code base. I mean, it does, but it's all kind of behind the scenes. I just like to know exactly what everything's doing and how everything is behaving. So I'm pretty, pretty guarded, I guess, when it comes to using my own tools. So that's why I built my own stuff, and then I'm going to use it, and then I want to, make it available for other people. And so I'm going to bring up Piixel Pieces. Okay, so here's Piixel Pieces. So this is our component library. So another comment here. Do I have the same attitude to the client first framework? Well, our components here with Piixel Pieces, they're designed using client first framework. So no, I don't have any problems with using client first framework. Although I am debating in terms of whether client first is the best framework to be using. And I'm thinking what I'm going to have within Piixel is multiple different frameworks, so that when you go to copy it, you can say, what framework do you want this to be in? Do you want it to be client first or MAST or whatever the framework is going to be? Because I think there's limitations with client first, specifically when you want to build something that is going to go in the Webflow marketplace, because you can't use underscores and dashes and all that kind of stuff. They have to be basically like camel case or uppercase or capitalized with spaces. So that doesn't work if you want to actually build a Webflow template. So anyways, no, the attitude that I have with client first frameworks are specifically that I don't think you're ever going to get a framework that is 100% exactly how you like to do things. So you kind of have to make some concessions in terms of, okay, I see what you're going with that framework, and in order to go with the flow and go with what everybody else is doing, I will adopt or adapt the way that I like to code and design things to that framework just to make it fit, which is what I've done for these components so far. No problem. I mean, I love the way that the client first framework has been has put it out there in order to get kind of more of a unified way for all of us to kind of do things and kind of work together, which helps us share things a little bit easier. So I really like what they've done with that. Actually, I mean, those guys at FinSuite are they're amazing guys. They've done some really, really great stuff, which is really, really cool to see. So if you look at these components that I have here, again, I just kind of started off with launching the very bare bones amount of components. Again, also thinking about quality versus quantity. But the one thing that sticks out right now for me is there's no consistency in the look and feel. Now, if you look with the guys on Reloom, hey, Rolando, hey, nice to see you. Excellent week. Hopefully you're going to have a great week. I think this week is going to be pretty good for Piixel. I'm really excited. And next week also kind of going off the rails here a little bit, is our 1 year anniversary of doing a daily live stream. Well, daily live stream Monday through Fridays. So I'm looking forward to that. I mean, it's not like I have anything huge planned out because I mean, I'm not sure what I can do. Maybe give out some trials or some like memberships or whatever to Piixel Pieces. But anyways, it's just exciting that I've been doing it for a year now. So I'm growing steadily, slowly but surely every single day. Actually, I have been looking at the stats that I've had for how many subscribers, and like the first, like it took 6 months to get from like 40 subscribers to 100, and then it just kind of started growing at a much faster rate. Anyways, we'll maybe look at some of those graphs a little bit later. So yeah, with the guys at Reloom, they're all about creating bare bones, super minimal components for you to go ahead as a designer to build and design your website, which I think is fantastic. I actually love that idea. And if I was personally to get a library to use, I would use them because that is the most conducive to the way that I work. Again, like I was saying, I like to know exactly what's going on with the code. I don't want to have I want to be able to bring my personality and my style, whatever, to the designs. But that being said, I think to really differentiate myself in how I'm going to be different from guys like Reloom is, number one, I'm more interested in having really, really well built components as opposed to having lots of different components. So for example, in other libraries, you can have 20 different navigation components, but they're all pretty much the same thing. And even ones where they're just, I switch this button from left to right, and then that's a new component, or I have a drop down instead of this, and that's a new component. So I'm not a big fan of having multiple components that are basically the same thing. That's one big thing. The other thing I want to do, because if you see here in these components, I'm not happy with how they're looking. And I know the idea here was to go minimal, but number one, I think I can implement still a minimal style, but add in some of my personality and some of Piixel's personality into this, so that when you're looking at this component, you'd be like, yep, that's a Piixel component. I could spot that from a mile away in a sense, but yet still make it easy enough for people when they do cut and paste those components that they can quickly restyle it or reskin it to whatever project or whatever it is that they're working on, right? So that's a really important thing. And the reason why this is really important to me, it goes with the new pricing plan that I want to do and that I was thinking about. Now, Sam, I don't know if you're here, but you mentioned a podcast. I totally can't remember, some kind of, what was the podcast name? I can't remember. If I could think of it, maybe I'll put it in the description or something like that. But it was these guys that built Tailwind UI or Tailwind CSS or whatever. And they have Tailwind UI. And they were talking about the benefits of single pricing as opposed to monthly recurring revenue, or like just charging a subscription service. And I listened to that podcast. It was like an hour long, and I like 100% agree with 100% agree. It means pretty much everything. Yeah, I agreed with their premise for sure. And it solidified all the things that I was thinking about, and it put all the things I was thinking about why I want to charge a one-time fee as opposed to charging a recurring subscription. Put all of that into focus and almost gave like words to everything that I was thinking of. And it just made everything kind of crystal clear in terms of at least how I want to start charging money for this product and for the components that I'm building. And a couple things stand out with charging for a one-time fee versus a subscription fee. And I think what I'll do here, let's go into, I'll go into Webflow here because this page I don't think is live unless I update it. I'm not sure. Let me take a quick look at it here. So I want to go, I think it's this pricing page. Right. So this is the idea, the pricing page that I have set up once we're ready to actually start charging for this thing. Once we clean up all the components and all that stuff. It's like pay once, own for life, gain lifetime access, blah 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 for $4.97, and then you get the benefits, blah blah blah, whatever. So the things that really stand out for charging a lifetime payment is when you give a lot of value to a person up front and they just pay a one-time fee or whatever, and then they get that exchange of value in terms of, okay, there's 50 components or whatever that's in the Piixel Pieces. So they can go ahead, log in, download all of them or whatever the case may be, and then never touch Piixel ever again. But then there's that fair exchange of value. And the thing that I always had in my mind, and you probably hear me talking about this and not complaining about it, but just thinking about what people could do if they sign up to Piixel Pieces for 1 month or, month to month. They could join in, access all the templates, access all the components, just download them and then leave, right? And you can't really stop someone from doing that because they paid the $29, so they have access to everything. And then what are you going to do about that? So doing it this way, I think there's two things that it does. Number one, it makes it fair for myself, and then it makes it fair for the customer, the person who's actually buying the product. They pay once, they're happy with the price, they get that value. But then number two, there's also not this pressure on me to always have to feel that every single week or every single month I have to release a large volume of components or templates or whatever the case may be in order to make it think that the people that are buying a subscription model are getting their money's worth, right? Because imagine buying for a subscription. You buy a subscription model for whatever product it is, but that product always stays the same, right? Like it's never improving as much as you'd want it to improve. And I think when you have something like that, you get into this situation where it's like, okay, well, let's just release components. Yeah, they might not be the highest quality or whatever, but it's new components. So it's something new to help with that churn. Because that customer churn is always a big thing. And I think from what they were saying in that podcast is in businesses that rely on actually giving products that you can download, whether it's video courses or like Lightroom presets or, Photoshop files, whatever the case may be. You can get a lot of churn where someone just goes for 1 month and then just downloads everything that you have in your whole library, right? And then that's it, right? I think it's different than, like I used to work at Shopify, and that churn there was, what was our churn? It was pretty low. I think, definitely under like 5% or something like that. But what these guys were saying is that churn in this type of business model where you're actually having like a products or a library, what have you, churn could be a lot higher. So you're always having to look for new customers anyways. So if you're always having to look for new customers anyways, you might as well just charge them once and get all that money up front instead of trying to capture what the lifetime value is and trying to work out how much you need to charge per month in order to maximize those numbers, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And anyways, the point being is that could allow me to focus on how I want Piixel Pieces to be going forward. And that is like the best place online that you can get the highest quality components and templates, like bar none. That's what I'm looking for. So yeah. So, and with that being said, that's why I had this title today of like, I want to create this unified design, and I really want to make sure I take the time to really build out something that is also very minimal, that's like ready for you to have your own skin, but yet is like super clean, super beautiful, super just awesomely designed, I guess you can say. So everything has that look. And then of course, when I get to templates, they'll each have their own kind of amazing templates, but that's templates and components are another thing that we're going to talk about moving forward here. So Rolando, I understand what you say about the one-time payment, but you can only upload 8 new components per month. that are super optimized, and that will generate a lot of value and thus charge per month. So yes, but so here's the thing. I guess this is where, again, well, a couple things. So when I do say that, yes, I'm going to start off with doing a lifetime value payment or whatever that structure is going to be, it doesn't mean I have to stick with it, right? So I'm obviously going to be super flexible to figure out, are there better ways of having a business model, better ways of having a pricing model? So if I price at, let's just say $300 a year or one time, right? So I have $300, I get that per customer, and I get that money right away. So if I'm charging $30 per month instead, which looking at the competition, that's probably about as high as I can go in terms of what people are going to be willing to pay for this type of service. I would have to retain that same customer regardless of how many new components I build. Say I do 8 of them. I would have to make sure that they're going to stay on for 10 months straight. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on me to create those 8 new high quality components a month. And it might not sound like a lot, but that could end up being a whole lot of work. Not to say that I don't want to do any work as soon as I launch or whatever and I get a client. Absolutely not. But I just want to make sure that I'm not feeling the pressure to release new stuff because I have a higher churn rate than I initially anticipated. And getting that $300 straight up is much better than getting $30 every month for the next 10 months. Even, all things being equal, because then I have that cash to be able to deploy to do other things, like pay myself for one thing, and then maybe, bring on other people or whatever the case may be. So in terms of a cash flow scenario, getting 100 customers to pay $300, that is what, $30,000, as opposed to getting $3,000 a month. Like $30,000 cash upfront is so much better, and you could deploy that to do other things for marketing or whatever to even grow even more and getting those new customers than having $3,000 a month, which is just like, in Canada, $3,000 a month is like just enough to live, and that's it, right? Nothing else. So that's kind of how I see that. It was occurring to me, you could charge a single payment for the components and a monthly fee for the tutorials. I would pay that because I would have much more value. Yes, and that's a really, really great idea where you can have educational pieces or educational components to this, because there's other ways that you can create value around this whole thing, that you can have different business models depending on whatever the case may be. Because I can tell you right now, just going like thinking about things for the future, there's going to be one price for components and there's going to be something else as well for templates, because the way that they're structured, they're almost like two completely different things with how Webflow works, that they're going to be two different things. So it's going to be like $300 for the component library and, whatever, $300 for the template library. So that would be another thing in the future to bring on board. But I do love what you're saying too is tutorials. There could be other things. Yeah. Offer free tutorials or people could get educated, but then also have a fee. Hey, listen, if you want to get weekly new video drops or whatever, then that's a subscription fee for that as well too. So absolutely right. All right. So, but why would anyone choose your components over Relume's when you can easily customize their free 1000 component kit? Yeah, you're right. I mean, I'm not going to be for everybody. So I'm not claiming that I'm going to get 100% market share. So 100%, right? Number one thing that I'd push back to that is the Relume library. I think there's only 30 components that are free. The rest you have to pay for. So that's number one. Number two, the whole thing with subscription models, again, like me, I hate subscription models. I can't stand it. I would rather pay a one-time fee for something and have access to it for forever than to have to subscribe, because I don't own anything. I hate not owning things. So I think there's a lot of people that are like me that would rather pay for components one time as opposed to continually paying every single month. So I'm hoping I can capture some of that market. And number three, I guess hopefully that I could develop my products different in the way that the Relume does, that has a little bit more of a benefit or more of a value add than Reloom does. And is that going to happen? I don't know. I mean, this could all, you know what? This could all be for naught, and then it ends up being that nobody wants to use Piixel Pieces, and I'm fine with that. If that's how it is, that's how it's going to be, right? But I think there's enough marketplace, and this whole no code ecosystem is just starting. Like Webflow is still very new in the space, so I think there's going to be lots of room for Relooms and Flowbase, and there's a couple other ones I can't remember off the top of my head, and the Piixel Pieces of the world. I think there's going to be enough room for all of us to be successful. Could you build a better AI site builder than Reloom? I'm not interested in building an AI site builder, to be honest. That's not in my game plan moving forward. So that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to be going in different directions. So they're going to do their things, which is fantastic. And I'm going to do whatever it is I'm going to do. But yeah, I would never use an AI site builder personally. So I don't know what people would want in one. So I'm not going to even try to build something like that because I wouldn't even know what to build. So, and I'm not trying to build, like I was talking to Kevin there. Kevin, I don't know if you're here. But he always says like, you got to check out the competition to see what they're doing. And I was like, yeah, maybe I should check it out. But I don't look at what they're doing, and I don't look at other stuff because I know what I do. Like I've been designing websites for over 15 years, and I kind of know what someone like me likes and what somebody like me wants. And I think I can offer some good value to people that are just starting to do websites and building websites, that I could help educate them and give them some tools that I wish I had when I was starting out. So yeah. But yeah, I think that's the one thing too, to always, or like as a business person, someone who's starting something, you don't want to worry too much about what the competition's doing, because I think then you'd probably never release anything because the competition's already out there doing stuff. And you're like, well, why would people come to me? Because it's already out there. But not everybody knows the competition, and you have, like, I know for me, my own unique value proposition is me and my work ethic and my dedication to working, and all the things that I know I'm going to be publishing in the next couple months in terms of education and that kind of content. So hopefully people find value in that. Hopefully people like my honesty and like, the message that I'm kind of putting out there, and just even not even so much messages, but even just be putting myself out here and trying to help other people start their own business or start their own company or start their own thing by showcasing all the pitfalls and the highs and lows that I've had trying to build a company that's successful. I'm really hopeful that I can find success and I can build a successful company, and that people can see what I do and have this blueprint for them to carry on and get themselves to be successful. So yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I see as my value differentiator. Is that the right word? Is that a word? I don't know. A competitive advantage, maybe you can say. Because this thing too, in terms of psychology and how people choose to buy things and how people purchase things, it's not always just a logical, this is the best tool or the best thing that I need or whatever, and then I'm only going to buy that. People don't think and don't buy like that. They buy on emotion. They based on feelings. They buy on people that they can trust and people that they know. So yeah. So if people know me and get to know me and trust me or what have you, especially when, again, I start making YouTube videos on education and all that kind of stuff that I'm going to be doing, they'll be like, yeah, this guy knows what he's talking about. He seems like a pretty cool guy. Yeah, I'll buy Piixel Pieces for whatever the cost is going to be. So yeah. So what I can assure you is that Piixel Pieces elements will be optimized with the schema org micro data structure to guarantee excellent SEO. Sorry. And win snippets, because I'm going to help him achieve it. Sorry. That's a whole lot of stuff. Maybe that'll be like the tagline. We'll put that on the heading. To put all the, what's the case? All the, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like all the technical details in there or whatever. But yeah, I appreciate all the help in the world. Thanks, Rolando. Appreciate that. But yeah, the SEO is a very interesting point to consider as well too, because like there are some tools out there that help extend the SEO capabilities of Webflow, because I mean, Webflow has some stuff, but it's not the most robust thing ever, like a Yoast plugin for WordPress, for example. But there's other there's other tools that people have built to up the capabilities of search engine tools within Webflow, which is what's so great about Webflow, is that people can create these extensions that could increase its functionality, which is awesome. Which is why I kind of like, I'm pretty happy with making the decision of using that tool as a springboard for Piixel Pieces and what I'm going to do in the future. But that being said, there is a danger in that, and that's why I'm still thinking. I have this idea 2 years from now, how to transition into being completely independent from Webflow. But those conversations are a little bit too premature right now. Webflow SEO is a joke, just like Elementor, Bricks Builder, and other web builders. I will say this in complete transparency and honesty. I am not the best SEO guy. In fact, I'm not an SEO guy. I have books back there in the library. You can't see them. I bought 3 books on search engine rankings and all that kind of stuff. Trying to implement some of that stuff. But I'm by no means an expert, and I don't have experience in doing full-blown SEO campaigns. I try to optimize my sites as much as possible, but in terms of doing actual campaigns and having clients on that I try to build that for them, I haven't done that. So I don't know how well it is, but I do know. Let's look at Patty. I can't know. Okay. Oh, that's not it. Webflow SEO. So plugin. Okay, that's this guy here. Is it Semflow? Yeah, okay. So there's this thing right here. What's the pricing on this thing? Again, it's probably a monthly fee. Try free for 7 days. Okay, anyways, whatever. Pricing doesn't matter. So let's zoom in on this. So do your own SEO right in Webflow. So Rolando, maybe, because I think it seems like you know a lot more about this than I do. So maybe we can go over this page and see if what this does in terms of extending Webflow, if it's good. So what does it say here? It has, I guess it gives you a bunch of data here on your tags. So it's almost just like a tool to help you optimize. So it looks at the word count, page speed. I'm not sure how it's generating that report. Oh, there, it just said there by Google Speed. So I run an audit. Optimize your site. Optimizing your site is easier than ever. Semiflow provides a custom step-by-step checklist. So it's almost like it doesn't help you do SEO. Oh, I guess it does here with focus keywords. Yeah. Well, that's kind of cool. So this just looks like it has that. Yeah, it's just pulling data from another place. So you don't have to go outside of Webflow and figure out what the best keyword research tool is, I guess. Track and improve your speed. I guess that's good to do. What users say. And yeah, $8 a month. So yeah, I mean, it's worth, something like this is worth trying. But again, for doing SEO, again, if I was going to do it for clients, we'd really need to figure out how to see what tools you're using and what effect they're actually having on your actual results on specific keywords, and then putting a whole plan in place in terms of figuring out what do you even want to rank for anyways in the first place. And I find it's really hard to do, especially if you have a website or a client that is doing like very low search volume in the first place, and how you know your stuff is going to be working. Anyways, very interesting. But yeah, outside the box, yeah, I guess a lot of these tools don't really think too much about SEO. Although if you're looking at, so when you're on here in Webflow, I mean, you have some stuff here. You have your tag, you have your meta description, and then you could change your open graph stuff as well too. And you could have some of these custom descriptions as well too, which is pretty nice. I mean that's good, but again, yeah, that's about the extent of it. You'd have to kind of know the best practices to put in place when you're building your website and putting your HTML structure in place and all that kind of stuff. So, so with the new Google Core updates, the plugins almost do not work. Yeah, a lot of SEO semantics are involved, so that the updates do not affect you. Do you mean the plugins for WordPress or the plugins for Webflow, or all plugins for all of these builders? Yeah, so it is something really good to consider, and I think I'll definitely reach out to you once we get these things designed and built sufficiently, so at least I know like it looks 100% perfect how I want to look at it. I would love to sit down with you and figure out, okay, are we using the right semantics to make sure that our SEO is 100% as good as it possibly can be? Because that would be a really cool feature to put in Piixel Pieces, saying like, hey, why come with us? Well, our components are like 100% like SEO optimized or whatever. So yeah. You can only talk about what I've used. Yeah, so the WordPress plugins. Okay, it makes sense. But yeah, that's the thing with WordPress plugins is there's so many of them out there, and depending on who's written them and who's maintaining them. And SEO, I think, is one of those things that are pretty much at the back of people's minds when they're building things. And I think with good reason, in the sense that it's not the easiest thing in the world to understand. Well, it's not that the easiest. It's not the most fun. But yeah, it's kind of unfortunate though, because I think when you're even building a website, having proper HTML structure is a pretty big step, and is pretty important to building a website that has really good SEO. Okay. Oh, so in pricing. So let me, I guess, talk a little bit about pricing. So what I'm thinking, so right now, okay, hang on a second. So right now there are 22 components in the library, which is not very many components, clearly. And I think what I would like to do is, from the stuff that I've been thinking about, what I want to build, I want to bring that number up to between 50 and 100, minimum 50, before I start actually charging money for this for people. Like, again, if you want to right now, you can just sign up and it's free, whatever. Cool. Please do sign up and then let me know what you think and use them and whatever. And tell me all the reasons why they're terrible. And that's great, because then we'll fix them. But yeah, so once I have 50 to 100 components, I'm going to start charging. And I'm thinking of starting the pricing basically between 200 and 300, maybe 350 USD. So that's what I'm thinking of starting at that price point. So I know I wrote it, where did I write it? Here, like 479. That's like way too expensive. Now that I'm thinking about it. So this is what I'm thinking. What did I say? I think 199 to 349. I think 199 is too low, and I think 349 is too high. But this cost is basically, I think it's less than, let me take a look at, I think I did something here. Hang on. Let me look at pricing. Create pricing. No, privacy. I thought I did something here about pricing to like figure out the pricing. Oh, here we go. Determine initial price. Okay. So I was looking at a few other competitors or people that are doing similar things. And so here's what we have in terms of pricing. So we have Flowbase, which has a freemium model. Monthly is $39 a month, or annually $324. So you have Reloom, again, the freemium model, between $38 and $48 a month if you do month to month, or $384 to $480. Again, they have different tiers as well for an annual subscription. Then you have GridUp, which has a lifetime free trial. Lifetime free trial, which is just free. They don't have a freemiums. It's just a free trial, and then you get $39 per month or $396 annually. And then System Flow, which has just lifetime values and has different price points. So looking at these, my thought process is to probably be around the same price of everyone else of what their yearly subscription model is going to be. Because I would imagine, I don't know what their churn rate is, but their lifetime value of a customer, I would imagine, this is my guess, I could be completely off, and actually I'm not trying to say what their lifetime value is at all in any way whatsoever. But my gut would say that they're probably less than a year for their average length of a subscription. So if we can capture that in a one-time payment at around $350, which is kind of around where they are, $400, $320, $380, $480. So it's kind of right there in that sweet spot. I think that is a good price point to start for components. But I'm also thinking I could start off a little bit cheaper. Because if I start a little bit cheaper at maybe even $199, that's too low. So let's say $259 or $249, whatever, $250, right? So if I start at that price point, you look at it's like, oh, okay, $250. It wouldn't be less than a year if I went with Reloom or whatever. I like the components that you have. Yeah, perfect. Whatever. Always updating new components. That's great. Only have to pay once. Don't have to think about it. Don't have to worry about expensing a subscription to my boss or all that kind of stuff at work because it's annoying. And then if I keep adding new components and then the value keeps going up and up and up, then I can increase. I can start at $250. Maybe at the end of the year I go to $300. I go to $350. We could always increase the prices, right? Like it's not a static thing. But I also want to components per price point as well too, to make sure that people see as the value being there. So that's what I was thinking of, between $250 and $350 to launch for Piixel Pieces. So I think that's the price point. Well, that is the price point that I've put in there. But what do you think? Like, what price point do you think would be a good thing to start with? I mean, maybe you don't agree with the whole lifetime value as it is, but say you are, what do you think would be the best? Or like I'm going with it, so that's just what's going to happen. So what do you think would be the best one to go with? The lower price, $250, to go more towards the high end, meet in the middle at $300. Yeah. Anyways, interested to hear your thoughts. But that's what we're going with. So what we need to do, I can close this. What we need to do is, like I said, we need to design really good components and have a consistent look and feel here. I'm losing. Well, hang on. Comment. Losing focus again. Today was about creating unified design. Yes, it was. But it's like the whole pricing thing, though. Yeah, it stems to that because again. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. Okay. I already talked about that. Yes. Okay. Let's get to it. Let's get to it. Okay. So this is, I'm not sure exactly where to start with this. Because I look at my designs here. I mean, they're pretty consistent, but they're still pretty bland and generic in terms of just this blue with the buttons and what have you. So I'm not sure. It's tough to say, like, what can I do to really add your own flair to it, but yet be open enough that, hey, this is a component that is ready for your love and your tender design touch. Right. So I think let's start with playing around. Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. No need to apologize at all. But yeah, let's get going. Let's get on this. We've talked about pricing long enough. So it's like, stop talking about how you're going to make money and actually do the things that's going to actually help you make money. Okay, where was my mind? Right, in terms of, it's got to be generic enough that people could see it and be like, yeah, I could use these components for my website, but have a good enough look that people are going to be like, yep, that's a Piixel Pieces thing. So, right, let's open up Figma and let's just start playing around, I think, because I'm not sure exactly how to start with this. Okay, this member flow. This is off to the side in other thoughts we will worry about later. So let's create, can I create a new project? I don't know if I think I've reached my project limit. Okay, I don't want to create a new project. I want to create like whatever this is called. Like a board. What's this thing called in Figma? It's a, yeah, I don't know. So Piixel Pieces. It is basically like a style guide, but maybe it is basically like a style guide. Yeah, all right, let's create a new, oh, again, my lack of Figma stuff. We just want a new screen, right? Frame, that's it. A new frame, desktop. I don't know, just desktop. Okay. Right. One of the first things, so I do know one thing that I want to change is the font. Because this is using Articulate, which is the font that I use for Piixel Pieces and Piixel Media. Basically, this is my font, Articulate. Not my font, but the font that I use for the business. Most people aren't going to have this actually installed because I think I get it from Typekit. I think I actually bought it too. I can't remember. Anyways, but I know I just saw this when it's being served up by Typekit. But we want a font that is both accessible and ubiquitous. So what am I doing? So we're gonna get a Google font, which sucks, but you know, we're just gonna have to suck it up. So there's the one font, Kevin recommended this for us, is Inter, which is seems to be a pretty common font, which is nice, but it's almost a little bit too robotic, but I'm going to keep it in mind. I'm going to go through all these fonts. I mean, this is going to be pretty bad. Let's see. Hang on a second. Let's get a standard text here. Oh man, I haven't used Google Fonts in forever. How do you? Oh, here we go. Like I want to paste my copy, paste. It's not pasting anything. That's annoying. I'm not sure what's going on there. Welcome to Piixel Pieces. This is a new all right. Whoop. What did I just do? Okay. All right. So Roboto. Okay, so how do we, man, this site has changed so much. Okay, so I want to, oh, here's the preview text. And it just, welcome to Piixel Pieces, a new Webflow component and template library. Just copy that. Okay. So you could use a font of the system that is clean, simple, and minimal, because at the end you're not working on the design. The client is going to change that, but you're working on the structure. Yes, but I do want, for when everyone else is going to see them, when they're perusing through Piixel Pieces and they're looking at all the different components, number one, I want them to look the same for everybody. I don't want you to look at on one computer and it's different, and you look on another computer and it's different, and then there's spacing issues and all that kind of stuff. So I want to be careful about that. And then, yeah, I do need to use a font that, yeah, it's like, it's almost has to be a system font, because when you cut and paste it, and if you don't have that font, it's gonna look different. Yeah, there's no two ways about that, because all fonts have their own different letter spacing and line heights, and the paddings that they have on, the top and the bottom of the fonts. There's so many different factors. So, and even the difference between systems. Not all systems have the same fonts. I mean, you could just use Arial, which is pretty standard, or Georgia or something like that. But, but at least within Webflow, if you're cutting and pasting in Webflow, I mean, if we look at typography, I mean, they got these web fonts here. Yeah, so maybe Arial might be the way. I mean, they have these ones as well, these Google fonts that are, looks like they're pre-installed. So maybe these ones might not be a bad choice. Because, yeah, it's when people cut and paste into Webflow, I need to think about. So if these are already in Webflow, then that might not be bad. And like Lato's not that bad of a font either. Yeah. Oh, Arial's just so bleh. Arial looks really bad for me when it's bolded. This font is my nemesis font. I hate this font with like all my being. Montserrat. Oswald. Okay. So, okay, let's escape from there. Right. Okay. Local variables. Is there a way? Color, number, string. Is there a way within Figma to set a default font? You'd think that there would be, but I'm not sure. Let's see. Figma set default font. Yeah, selecting your object, edit set. Default font. Okay, no response. It would be awesome if we could set properties like font size alignment. So every time we start a text box, it would have all the properties already set. Looks like set default isn't actually setting the default. It does seem to work now for font family alignment. Well, if I do a text here, let's just test. And the text is enter. Right, if I just did Arial. And if I set another text, it's still Arial, so it's still staying the same. Oh, but I think it copies from whatever I was before. So if I do this one, and I just, whatever, let's put it, select this. If I do another text, yeah, it's whatever. Oh, It's like whatever you were selected in last. So create component. Might be out of luck. Setting a default font size. Where are all my Figma pros? Help me out with this one. Master component. I just need to change the font on the all master components. So like everything would have to be a component. Well, that would be interesting. Rolando, yes, see you tomorrow. Have a great night. Your turn to prepare food. Yeah, right on. Right on. Well, enjoy. Have a good supper or dinner or lunch or whatever. I guess it would be kind of maybe more lunchtime. Anyways, yep. Have a good one, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, Figma design. Okay. So let's see. I think one thing that we can do is, I guess we can almost just make this, I think we can start as like a style guide. So I think we could even look at maybe some examples to give us a little bit of inspiration on some style guides. Lunchtime where you are. Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, you're probably Eastern time, I would imagine. Anyways. Cool. Or is it Eastern time or is it daylight savings time? I can never get that right, whether we're on standard time or daylight savings. I think we're on standard time now. And then daylight savings time in the spring. Images. So basically what I'm thinking for style guide, are there any good photos here? Actually, the other example was much better, where it had like the letters and the font sizes. Something like this. Can I see this a little bit bigger? We have H1, H2, H3. So let's start with that. I think that'll be a good place to start. And I don't know if we make it into a component or but we definitely do need to again think about our fonts. Definitely don't want to do Arial. Or are all these my system fonts? I definitely do have Lato, which is interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost positive now. The way to go is to use a font, I think that's just defaulted within Webflow. I think that makes the most sense. So it's going to look the same for everybody. And so maybe just using Open Sans or Lato would be the one to go with. If you copy and paste a Google font from a Webflow component, I don't think it adds that actual font to your Webflow project. So there could be something where we can have a specific guidelines, or in the documentation says if you want to use, and if you want, when you cut and paste them and you want them to look the same, please make sure to install like this Google font. But that's annoying too. But then you have to do that for every project. That's stupid. I wouldn't want to do that. So why would I make other people do that? Do you know, like if I wanted to, because if I add a font.
When it comes to font selection, sometimes Times New Roman just won't cut it, and perhaps you're having... From your project settings, you can head over to Fonts. If you want to browse before you make a decision, click the link over to your right to...
and just look.
Once you've made your decision, head back over to your project settings and choose the font you want to add from the list. Variants and language or script options will appear below if there are any, so you can choose the right selections for your project. You can always come back to this later to add or remove these selections, and you can always add additional Google fonts as well. Press Add Font, and you're ready to go. And if you head on over to the designer, you'll have instant access to the font family, so you can begin styling immediately. To remove a Google font, press Delete next to the font you want to remove. And that's it. Google Fonts right inside of Webflow.
Can you add a Google font not to your project, but to your actual workspace? I don't think so. Team plans, billing, apps, and integrations. I should be careful not to flash anything sensitive on here. It doesn't look like, which kind of sucks. Okay, so that's out. So we definitely need to select a font that Webflow has by default. And I think if we go, let's go back here. Let's just create a new site. Create one from scratch. Testing default fonts. Let's create a site. Throw in a heading, just your heading right there, and fonts. Yeah, it's the same as here. Yeah, okay. So out of the fonts that are here default, I mean, if we go to Open Sans, is it going to have all of them? It doesn't have all of them, but it has most of them. 300, 400, 600. That's pretty good. That's pretty much all you'd want. And it has the actual italicized version too, which is good. So out of these ones, Open Sans, I like. I also... this one, Droid. Basically, Open Sans and Lado, I think, are the two that are going to be the ones that I'm going to wrestle with. PT Sans, yeah, no, I hate the L's. I really don't like the L's on that one. I mean, Oswald, I mean, if we want, I don't think we want to do a 2-font system. And then, of course, we can stick with the world famous Arial. Ugh. Which that one only has 400 and 700. Okay. Okay. So this kind of sucks. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a little bit. I'm going to think about this for a little bit in terms of just kind of how I want to structure this style guide. Because I haven't put as much thought as I wanted to on this. So I think I'm going to spend some time tonight to put some thought into it. Yeah. Yeah, because I think if we just build out our style guide, have the headings, the paragraph, the different text, the colors and everything, and then we really just nail that down, then everything will flow from that. Then we'll be able to do, we'll have the navigation elements and all those kinds of things. We could just add that style to it. And then once we have that look and feel, which shouldn't be that, it's not like it's going to take that long and that I have a huge amount of rework to do on all these components. Not at all. It's just making sure that the look and feel is just really tight and consistent. And then, and then we can just go from there and making sure the HTML is good to go, and then start building out the final components and then getting ready for launch. So that's what I'm going to do. I need to think about that. So while I think about that, there's one thing that I need to finish off here. And I just need to do, so this is part of this, this kind of course or whatever that I'm in, this Propels validation thing. And they want us to put this together, this little validation readiness assessment thing. So I think I'm just going to finish this off here. There's not much else that I need to put in. Oh yeah. Okay. Here we go. Here's the thing. What are the gaps on your team? What skills are you missing and how will you acquire them? So senior developer would be great to have someone help solidify the backend infrastructure. I do have access to highly skilled friends who help out when needed. What are the gaps on the team? Again, the team of one. So this is an interesting question. So it could be gaps. So thinking of this from a founding perspective, when someone who's just starting out, asking what are the gaps on your team? So, and like how big is your team? And how the gaps in terms of what? In terms of creating $1 million business or just getting started with an MVP, right? So if it's just getting started with an MVP, I don't have too many gaps because we're already kind of ready to go. So, I mean, you could say, oh, I have a marketing gap, I have a sales gap, or I have a, video editor gap, all these things, but those aren't critical to mission launch. So I think we'll just say senior developer for now. Yeah. Overall, how do you feel about your team's ability to make the startup a success? I mean, I feel pretty good. So I'll say 4 out of 5. Yeah. Positive, looking forward to it. But again, still have some reservations. But we want to hear from. Is there anything else you should recognize? I think we could say. Is there anything else I think is important to share as a challenge? Mm-hmm. So I think my biggest challenge is definitely going to be figuring out how to analyze whether your product is fit for the market you're trying to hit, right? That's always a challenge. Because I did have discussions with this on my coach as well last week. So I know, like, I've never done this before in terms of really validating a product. Understanding how to. You need to understand in a way that will need to collect the data that I need. Yeah, something like that. That's in your team. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna submit that. Okay. All right. So I think I've done a lot of rambling, I guess, today in terms of thinking about pricing and design. So I'm going to, I wanted to do this on stream, but I think I really need to just think about this first before I start doing stuff in Figma or what have you, to just really kind of narrowing down exactly what it is that I want to have on for the style guide and how I want things to look. So I'm going to work on that, and then we'll come back tomorrow. And then tomorrow, I should have everything kind of all my ducks in a row and everything ready to go, so that we can start really fleshing out the style guide and how things are going to look, and just finalize the look and feel of all of our components, and then start to implement that across everything that we've done so far, and then move forward to building those new components. So we'll leave it at that. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you everyone for coming and commenting and sharing your thoughts. I really appreciate that. And as always, I'll be back here again tomorrow. Another day, I would say another $1. I don't know if I made $1 today. Probably not. Well, you never know. Actually, that's not true. I sent out an invoice to a client today for quite a few dollars. So that was nice. Anyways, another day, another $1, another day closer to our $1 million. So thank you for joining. Thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate all the support, all the likes and followers and new subscribers, which is awesome. Thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. And yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.